See if this flies with what you know to be, maybe in the medical field. Here is, I'm going to make it a bell curve for the purpose of argument. It's a little bit skewed. This is your average weight of 2-year-olds. What I've been told is these 150th percentile kids, there's another bell curve next to it. That's the average weight of 3-year-olds. So when you're the 150th percentile, you've exceeded, you're off of this curve, and you're halfway up this curve.
Because you're growing.
Well, and you know what? That's a perfectly believable option, except it's not based in reality, and here's why. Markers. Believable? I got that one out. No, it's believable if the math could ignore the reality. The reality is that there is no dividing line between the size of a 3-year-old and the size of a 2-year-old. In fact, it's quite a bit of overlap. The taller 2-year-olds are generally taller than the shorter 3-year-olds. There's no line in the sand that says, okay, if you're 2, you can't be any taller than this. And if you're 3, you can't be any shorter than this. That's bunk. That doesn't exist. The curves do not sit like this. They sit like waves on an ocean. Now, they widen. You can actually see it in this graph. So often, they get wider as the kids get older. So the standard deviation very early on is extraordinarily tight. That's why you want nice, precise weight measurements when your kid is born. Because if you're off by half a pound, that's a huge difference. That goes from being this 20th percentile to the 70th percentile. Yeah. Being off by half a pound now, it's like, whatever, 41, who cares? But at a time when it's drawn in like this, it's a big difference. So this is why I don't like any percent. Anytime anybody tells you percentile it's over 100%, just ask them what they mean. Because what they usually mean something well-intentioned, but it's not mathematically possible to exceed more than you have. Fair enough? Yeah. I mean, obviously, if I told you Max is now in the 120th percentile for head girth, you're going to draw Charlie Brown on your paper. If you draw my son, it's Charlie Brown. You get the point. He's got a big head. But it doesn't mathematically mean anything. There was a hand. I thought, please, Scott, go.
I'm just wondering, did they check growth hormones or any?
Oh, I'm sure.
Because, like,
I'm sure not.
If you're doing that, you're not sure what the hormone level of that child is.
You're looking so micro into this, and I love the fact that you're doing it. I just want to make sure that a number is not run with, because what can possibly happen? The same thing happens, FYI, the same thing happens when parents start freaking out because their kid isn't talking soon enough. The same exact thing happens. Oh my God, all my friends' kids are talking. You know what I tell them? Enjoy the silence, for God's sake. Because once they start, it's never going to stop, and it's wonderful, but holy crap. My kid's not walking. That means you can still put him on the bed and like get stuff done? What the hell are you complaining about? But we get so nervous because we forget this spread. We ignore that spread. So I'm looking at a more macro view, Scotty, at this point. I love the fact you're looking micro.
I'm just saying, if they really want to make that value.
Oh, hell yeah! Back it up. Back it up with some genetics. No, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. But I'm just talking about misinterpretation of a very, very basic statistic. Faith, then let's take 5. Please, go ahead.
My doctor was really good at just making sure that the height and the weight were both kind of looking up for percentile, or that there was some balance there. And then when at the next checkup, said their growth.
And that's what I begin to notice about Max. He is reverting to median. He is reverting back to 50th percentile. He was a tall kid. I mean, if you get a chance, swing by my office sometime. I've taken a picture of him every 6 months since he's been born in front of our, I don't know how this started, but he came downstairs at exactly 6 months old, and Jen was kind of walking down the stairs, white t-shirt, blue jeans, and bare feet. I said, put him in front of the door. Took a picture of him. Let's do that every 6 months. So you can see his growth. I just took my 14th one. He just turned 7. There's 14 pictures now hanging on the wall, and you can see the variation in his body. He was a little porker. I mean, just a little tiny, like, tub of lard, and then he just went, and he became the string bean, and his head now is eclipsing the doorknob, where it used to be far below it. You track the changes. That's what it's all about. I just got my body fat measured in my Total Fit class. The Total Fit is the class you guys do that one exam question on. Super fun. And Jenny's like, oh, dude, man, you came in at 15 this time around. And I'm like, whatever. She's like, well, you're 15. I'm like, whatever. First of all, there's a plus or minus on the measurement. And secondly, I've been tracking it over time. And it basically does this. With slight hiccups up, once I was 8, I'm usually around 10. Do I expect a measurement of 15 at some point? Of course I do. Of course I do. My trend is almost flat horizontal. Max's trend is trending away from extremes back towards median. which is where you'd bet he would be anyway. Most kids are going to be near that median. That's the kind of the definition of a mode and a median, right? That's the halfway point. You're going to be symmetrically on both sides of that median, not necessarily average, but the median. Cool?
Well, yeah, and you have to like the difference between like our big hit, like where all of a sudden they're not gaining a whole lot of weight, but they just shot up in inches.
But look at the trend, right? Watch the trend. See, what you just did is something Americans they suck at, Faith, is look at a long-term trend on average over time.
Yeah.
Watch that trend. Watch the time. We are knee-jerk reaction. Unemployment's up! Is it? Or is it a random fluctuation in the system that's going to correct itself in 3 months? It's down! You see? Did anybody watch the headlines this week? The Dow had its worst day ever in like the past 6 months on Monday.
Right.
And then the next day, the S&P and the NASDAQ had their best. Coincidence? Hell no! It's called a correction. It's a trend. It's a small little outlier, but it's a predictable part of the curve if you look at the entire thing. Anyway, I'm getting soapboxy. I apologize. Let's take 5, huh?